Nisha tiara sona miala ila kia sotorve shese sinatea. Se natiala kisa setea. Naya kula shunaha. Nia shuluna kilu suru. Nihala shuyalana. Shiatuya lisana. Liatumiana itaya. Ashanasela ilani amanapate tiala sotarveshanase tiakali doresha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'olam natilas. Lahad l'kner shel Shabbos.
Yatoshe siata ilariana navalete siatoshe shia liataya. Good day, good love, good light, illuminators and way showers, gods and goddesses, guardians of Gaia, angels. Thank you, thank you. It is once again in joy, divine grace, gratitude, and honor that you join us today as we celebrate the divine God and goddess energies within us, as we explore our multidimensionality through the artifacts, relics, through light languages, through blessings, through exploring what we know of history, what we don't know of history, how we're connecting the dots, how we're connected to all things. How we, Dave and I'm Wendy, thanks for joining us, Wendy and Dave. Thanks for joining us today as we once again explore our divinity, the kings and queens within us, the gods and goddesses, as we know that we are creator beings, that we have this ability to explore and expand and enhance and magnify all that we are by exploring these ideas, the ideas of signs, symbols in all of our media, in our movies, in our television, how we can take all of this idea of becoming the essence of that which are these parts of us, exploring our connections with crystals, with essential oils, all of the things that come from the earth, plant medicine, much of which is being explored right now as we go through these transitions. Once again, as we explore how we can incorporate our multidimensionality into our everyday lives. How do we incorporate the God and goddess within us, the light languages, the explorations of our connections to the oracle messages that come through in oracle cards? How do we take the information that we're gaining and learning, once again, remembering, putting back together that which we thought we were separate, segregated, separated from all of these things. And yet we are never been separated from any of these things. And Dave and I wanted to explore that and share with you all of the things that we have discovered in our research and things that excite us as we look things up every day, exploring our own multidimensionality. How does all of this, what does this mean in our everyday lives? And how can we bring it to all of you? How can we empower ourselves as multidimensional beings? How can we empower ourselves to utilize fully these ideas of the crystals and what do they mean? And so one of the things we love exploring here is bringing oracle readings, the crystals, the meanings of the crystals, the signs and the symbols and the symbolism, whether it be hieroglyphs, symbols in as we've discussed before, and if you've missed some of our last Fridays, we've discussed how symbols in artifacts and in movies and in television, how they tie into and remind us as breadcrumbs all that we are, and how by once again becoming the essence of this, whether it's in costume, whether it's wearing a shirt, a hat, jewelry, becoming the essence of this, actually we empower this within us to make our daily everyday decisions. So when we ask ourselves, what does all this multidimensionality mean to our everyday lives? Well, it means everything, absolutely everything. And we also, we also, as you notice, we start out these with light language blessings and with lighting the menorah. I believe that this is part of the blessings that I and all that we like to share with all of you, is the things that we actually do in our daily lives. And this is something that's new to me and not new to Dave. So this is something that's new for me, and exploring this new ceremony, if you will, this new part of me that I've known has existed all of as part of me, yet it's a new way of exploring what are these aspects of me and how do they tie into what we do every day, and how do we embody this in our everyday lives, and how we really do, when you bring these artifacts and things that bring you beautiful energy into your space, creating a space around you, a sacred space that empowers you to be all that you are. And this is just one more layer of all of that. And so I've lots of things there's always so many things we want to share with you, and we don't even get to it all, even in the couple of hour or two that we spend with all of you. It's as if there's still so much more to share. So we're looking to do more, videos and events and things like this, but we do wanted to share all of this space with all of you. So if you'd like to join us, the link to join the Zoom room here is posted everywhere. It's in the live chat here it's on my webpage, languagesoflights.com. It's on my Facebook page under Wendy Wolf and under Languages of Lights. So you just click on the webpage. There's a special event page on Goddess Fridays, and you can find the link to join the Zoom room here with us. And you don't have to dress up to participate, but again, we do encourage it because it helps all of us magnify and embrace and embody and share all of that. And I wanted to thank all of you who have been joining us. Thank you to those of you who have come and shared your light languages, your blessings, your hats, your your fun, and your comments, your energy. And so we invite your energy here with us. Again, we love for you to turn on your camera and share with us. You don't have to. All of you joining us is part of the interaction with us. So we do appreciate that. And is there anything else that we wanted to add and say hello to everybody? So I wanted to say hi to everybody. Oh, hey, hi, Dahlia Rose and Lightbright. Hey, Lightbright Jody. Hi, everybody. And Jody, oh my gosh, Jody Reiki Medium. I wanted to share too with you guys today some very interesting synchronicities that happened as a result of some things that happened last week, and to thank all of you for joining us. So do hop on in. I'm going to see if there's anybody sitting here waiting in our room here. I'm having a little, I know it's like I'm having a little difficulty here with my display on my screen today. I'm not really sure what's happening here. So I'm looking to see, I'm having a little trouble figuring out who's here with me today. So I'm going to open up the room. There's AJ and Florentine. Hi, Florentine. Good to see you. It's good to be with you. I'm so glad that you're here to join us today. Oh, thank you. And so I wanted to once again remind all of you that you can join here in the live chat with us on YouTube. So just hit the little live chat button and you can join in and ask questions and add your comments, talk to each other. We really enjoy that as well. So, and we love having you in the room. There's lots of information that we wanted to share with you. And as you can see today, well, maybe if you're not sure, today is really our kind of celebration and devotion to the idea of kings and queens, and how throughout history, regardless of what race, religion, country, there are gods and goddesses, there's kings and queens, and in all of these stories, and even in our animated stories, even in our movies, we're always depicting royalty, kings and queens, and what we've done so much interesting explorations with the ideas of kings and queens and gods and goddesses. And much of what we wanted to share with you is the idea of how this whole idea of the kings and queens has branched out. and branched out into really almost every realm, reality, dimension. I think that, but from an earth, time, space idea, how we didn't realize how so many of the kings and queens that in all of these other countries really can be really stemmed back to one space, one time, one person even. And so there's that, there's much information that we wanted to explore about animal spirit guides. I've got some oracle readings here that I wanted to share with you guys, as well as some information about some crystals. And so I wanted to, let's see, I wanted to start, I was looking to see where I could, I'm changing my, oh, there we go. So I wanted to say, I was just checking in to see who else is in the room here. I'm having a little trouble with the display here, you guys. So I'm trying to have an, oh, there. Oh, is that Ellie? Hi. Hi, Elena. Good to see you too. I wanted to see a sheet. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure that everybody who's in the room, it's hard we're having trouble seeing the names of who's in here. So I'm having a little, I just wanted to let you guys know that. So I was just being a little distracted there for a moment. So one of the things that we have been exploring, gosh, I'm not even sure where to begin here. The connections to things that we never thought were connected. I'm asking my guides now, like right now, where to even begin. Oh, do you have the pic that, here it is. It's under here. I've got a couple things I wanted to share with you guys today. I forgot to share that last week.
Well, we could start off by just talking about the idea of the kings and queens and how they relate to the god and goddesses, and how throughout history, kings and queens were always associated with gods and goddesses, either being a representation of the god and goddess themselves or being a representation on their behalf. And the other interesting thing that we found was the idea of that Queen Elizabeth now is shown to be a descendant of King David.
Yes.
And also wanting to mention that something that we found talks about the lighting of the menorah and the lights in the Jewish temple actually having one of the meanings of that the descendants of King David would always hold the throne position, and it represents the light that's everlasting.
Thank you.
And another reason why we're lighting the candles in the menorah here every day, and how that all ties in to not only Queen Elizabeth, but Irish kings and queens.
Yes,
and
English kings and queens. So much
queens.
that we've discovered.
Many kings and queens throughout the world appear to have some descendants that tie back to the King David time.
Exactly.
And one of the interesting things that we found, which we're going to want to talk about,
yes,
is the coat of arms.
Yes, thank you.
Of England, being the lion and
the
the
unicorn. And there's a whole story behind that, the origination of that. And I've just been fascinated, and the connection to that and the aquamarine crystal. And that I was getting information about the violet flame in Saint Germain. And then I discovered in my research with that also the aquamarine is a way to connect with that idea. And so each one of these threads that I'm guided to, and I'm receiving this information, and so is he, where it takes us on these new threads that we're like, it's incredible how all of this is also connected. And so I'm losing my crown here. And as Dave said, we like the menorah every day. And also Goddess Friday also seems to also coincide with the Sabbath.
The Sabbath, the
The-
preparing for the Sabbath.
preparing for the Sabbath. And so it's very interesting that, and if you guys have missed the first couple, if you go to the website, there's a link on there that you guys can check, click on the last few that if you've missed them, where we've actually discussed this, these connections before. And the reason, the inspiration behind Goddess Fridays. And this is not something new. This is something that has been going on for eons. This idea of revering and celebrating the goddess on Friday. And I also wanted to mention that behind us, speaking of coat of arms and King David, well, a couple of things. When I very first met Dave, that was one of the very first things I saw in her telepathically was, I had actually, let me back up. I hadn't even met him yet. I was meditating on his energy prior to our meeting. And that was the first images I got, and names were King David and the Star of David. And then so many other elements that had to do with all that. But I wanted to point out the throne that we're sitting on. So this actually is a King David lion's throne. Correct?
Yep.
And I don't even remember now how we even found it, but it was researching King David. As you can see, there's the coat of arms behind us, and you probably can't see, you probably can't see the arms here, but well, you can't see it. Anyway, they're lions. They're big golden lions. But so each, and the ornateness of this throne is out of, every time I look at it, I see something new. And so this also became part of our, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like temple. That was one of the words that first came to me, is in our creating what we wanted to create, our temple, if you will. And how, and that doesn't, and meaning a spiritual place to feel a sacred space where we're honoring, like on a constant basis, not even, I can't even say a daily basis, because we're passing it, the altar all day long with the menorah lit. And it's one of the first things I do in the morning is like the incense. And incense is another thing that we've talked about a little bit, that we wanted to touch a little bit more on, about the relationship. And we talked about this last week too, about the relationship with incense and the direct connection to God, if you will. And that incense is almost in every, well, if you want to call it religion or culture, I guess culture is a better way to put it, that some form of incense is always being used, because we innately understand the sense, all the senses and the sensories are involved. And that when we do this, when we're using essential oils and crystals, lighting incense, doing things intentionally, standing before what we call an altar. If you guys are not familiar even what altar means, it's basically just a place, a space where you collect the things that where you are in reverence, where whether it's just something that means something special to you, whether it's your crystals, maybe it's seashells, maybe it's a place where you light a candle every morning and say thank you for being awake every day. That's all an altar is it's a place where it's, and as we talked about a little bit, which we'll get into more, is ours is, as we were also guided, of acacia wood. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in trees too, and our connection with all of that, because of the intimate connection that we have with trees. Our breath is their breath and vice versa. And the oils that are created from these trees and how they can transport us, how they can literally take us to this divine space within us. And so ours is of acacia wood, because we were in our just fun research guided to, we're like, oh my gosh, the Ark of the Covenant was made of acacia wood and it's encased in gold. And so that spawned this whole research of finding out about incense should be burned on acacia wood. It should be stored in acacia wood, that it's a revered tree, that it's a sacred tree, and how we can relate to the trees as being sacred. How many of us, even in, of course, in our grounding rituals, we're being guided to be the tree, become the tree, touch the tree. They joke about spiritual people being tree huggers. So all of that is involved as well. And so that, what is the word I always magnifies? What is the word I always,
Amplify.
amplify. Thank you. Amplify. Amplify. All of these things amplify the psychic abilities that we all innately already have within us that again help us in our daily lives. It helps us make our decisions. It helps us decide from the heart. It helps us make choices for ourselves that are based on integration, on in integrity of when we're performing these rituals, if you will. And I even have a candle over here that I was going to read to you guys at one point about, and it says rituals on, and it's just a brand name, I think, but the idea is to even putting that candle there reminds me, even though the candle's gone, and to that ritual is a part of something that it reminds us of our royalty. Royalty is nothing but pomp and circumstance and ritual and ceremony. And so as we add these elements of this idea of ceremony and ritual into our lives, and we embrace this God and Goddess within us and using these crystals and start researching this stuff, we begin to understand, like sometimes we read this stuff and we're like, it's almost like you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, I've known this all along. Like somehow inside of me, I've known all along. So it's again, a remembering, a bringing back together of what we already know. And I wanted to share with you guys something regarding this lion energy too. And lots of energy, wolf energy. I'm Wendy Wolf is my name. Lots of lion energy. This idea of the courage and the stamina, and yet the quiet prowess of the lion and the lioness. The idea of the wolf and the wolf pack. All of these things were kind of swirling together, and I wanted to share with you something that I received from our dear friend Jessica. Jessica Drew Colors, and you can find her on Facebook. She does amazing stuff, and she's got books out there on Amazon. I've talked about her before, and I wanted to share with you something that she had drawn and wanted me to share with you guys today. And she said, Wendy Wolf, I give you Sekhmet for Goddess Friday. I turned my sketch into a coloring page you can print and share and color. So I wanted to share this with all of you in honor of today, of this wolf energy and goddess and God energy and lion energy and unicorn energy, because she's also just this wonderful unicorn, colorful person that I feel so multidimensionally connected to. And so I wanted to bring this to all of you, and I will post the link to this because I would like you guys to be able to share this and print it out too, and use it in color if you want to, but even just to print it out, or even just to look at it. So I wanted to share this drawing with you. And the fact that she actually drew this for us for today, to really invite this lion and wolf energy, and look at all the elements of the divine God and Goddess in here sitting on her throne, and all of the different types of elements of animal spirit guides, the idea of, I mean, look at all of the different multidimensionality wrapped in this one drawing. And so when we were just talking about how this idea of kings and queens and royalty, this is not even just on our planet even. This is something that is celebrated across galaxies, across the millennia. And once again, when we embody this energy, even when we put on, again, just a hat or a dress or a gown or something, and even we were talking the other day about superheroes and Superman and Batman. And so all of these other elements that seem unrelated completely, but they're all empowering. And it shows us that we're all powerful. And sometimes all we have to do is put something on, a piece of clothing, to remind us of our connections to all of these energies and our animal guides and our angel spirits and all of that. So I wanted to, there was a couple of things I wanted to share with you.
Also, I
go
also
ahead.
wanted to mention that the king and queen energies also represent taking charge and taking a leadership position.
Yes.
And even though it may not mean leading people, it does mean embodying that within yourself and always act as though you are leading in your beliefs and your authenticity. And that is a very important message, I feel, especially for now.
Absolutely. And that's huge about right now, because so many of us are feeling discouraged, defeated, disempowered, that we don't have control of the situation. And what power do we have? What messages are we receiving? Every time we're told we can't do something, you can't go outside, you can't touch each other, you can't, all of these things that are happening right now. But what is the ultimate message? And can we see the divine at work? Can we appreciate the divine at work and the transition that we're going through? And even by doing these hangouts, and I have to thank you guys for, so many of you have asked about, thank you for doing these hangouts. Are you doing them? Are you going to do one on Friday? And I want to say hi to my friend Sean for asking about, doing hangouts, and that we need to this together time and light language blessings and all of that. So all of this is a part of that. All of this is, and all of you and all of us connecting in these other ways is a way for us to connect in to ourselves and to each other. Again, as we've talked before, what are our guides actually asking us to look at during this time when we're being asked to go inside of ourselves, and how many people are discovering the discomfort of being with themselves. And one of the things that we wanted to do with this space and these spaces is to make all of us comfortable with ourselves, regardless of what's going on outside. I'm reminded by Bashar, channeled through Daralenka, that I remember when he said, circumstances don't matter. Only your state of being matters. What state of being do you prefer? Period. That was, and over that goes through my mind, because every time we feel disempowered, we are reminded that it is only our state of being that matters, because it is our state of being that literally shifts the circumstances. And actually, as Dave and I were talking about today too, and a few people have posted the changes that are happening on the earth itself, because it's quiet, it's being still, there's no traffic, there's no people, there's no cars, there's no noise. There are things that are happening as a result of that. New technology, new findings in the technology, new sensitivities in our technology that we weren't aware of before, that we can hear the earth hum in a different way. We can measure things in ways we didn't realize we could. There are a great many things, great many blessings coming out of this. And so one of the reasons why we want to do these hangouts also is because when we're creating the sacred space with each other, we all go out into the world with a different vibration. It changes the Schumann resonance. If you're not sure what that is, look it up, Google it. It's literally the vibration of the earth that is measurable by our scientists, that we energetically control. We change the vibration. So if we can begin to understand the higher perspective, and by embracing the archetypes within us, I'm looking at my archetype deck right now. So embracing and awakening the archetypes within us, the king and queen archetypes within us, the god and goddess archetypes within us, When we awaken that within us, we awaken the earth, we awaken the resonance, the vibration of the earth, of all that is. And one of the things that I love about this deck, thank you, my dear, is even the box. And it says, accept all, reject none. And we are being asked right now to accept all and reject none, yet allowing our vibration, allowing our focus on our vibration to be the most important thing right now, because we realize if we don't have control over everything else, what we do, the only thing we do have control over is our vibration, our state of being. And if our state of being overall, all of us, changes the resonant frequency of the earth, well, why wouldn't we all want to do everything we can during this time while we have these opportunities to intentionally raise our own vibrations and awaken these archetypes within all of us, that we may see things from a different perspective. And even these are round cards, and there's a crystal on the front. And so this is Kim Krantz, and I just absolutely love this deck. And even the cards, the back of the cards, big crystals. Now, this is thinking outside the box, right? It's doing something different. And the wild unknown, archetypes, that's what this is called. Now, isn't that what we're all entering right now? The wild unknown. So by introducing these things into our, and awakening the archetypes within us, and I even love the other side of this page too, with the hands. It really is about awakening the king and queen within us. And it was kind of funny when I opened, because I now again, I'm only sharing these with you guys for the first time. So, and I'm like, well, this must have a king and queen in it. And sure enough, I opened to the queen, and then I'm looking through the book going, gee, where's the king? And Dave's like, well, gee, maybe it's the next page. And sure enough, the king's right after the queen.
What else?
Where else would he be? So with that said, I wanted to share this card with all of you. And it's the first time I've seen it as well. And it happens to have, wow, that's very interesting. So it looks like what to be the moon and a lotus, and wow, what would you say that's around there? Like a ruby kind of color. And then we've got her holding the serpent, which is ancient knowledge. What is this number?
11.
11, of course, 11. What else would it be? The queen is a number 11. And for all of you who love numerology and love numbers, I am in a birth path number 11. So why else wouldn't the queen be number 11? So.
And it's on page 83.
And it's on page 83. Thank you, Dave, which equals 11. So there you have it. You cannot make this stuff up. So I know I'm going to, whoops, I'm going to show you guys the page really quick so you can see. Oops, all my cards are falling out, my markers. So you guys can see what the page actually looks like, because I love even the font and the images. The queen, the empress, the mother queen, the sovereign. Like her counterpart, the king, the queen has a dualist nature. Either she presides over the realm with grace and eloquence that comes from the heavens to uplift the spirit of others, or she falls into petty, contemptuous moods, casting a shadow across the land. If the king is the ego, the queen is the expression of that ego in the world. She is the lotus's blossom, the dancer's bow, the moon's radiant reflection. When the queen is seated in her rightful and righteous place, she is patient and forgiving. She waits for the grace of God and goddess to move through her, striving and grasping for nothing. To be the benevolent leader, to embody the queen, is to settle into deep trust, resolve, and power. The royal queen fears nothing, for divinity itself cradles her heart. When light, the embodiment of grace, courage, resolve, and stillness, you can't make this stuff up, you guys, stillness. When dark, vain, wrathful, self-righteous, and demanding. And there's, if you guys are interested in purchasing this deck, there's a lot of information in here too about the author gives recommendations on different books to read. And so it's very, very interesting how there's little notes and pictures. And this actually has a crown, a heart, a dollar sign, and another heart on it. And the queen does not accept the hand of a prince, but claims the throne, knowing the king draws near. She is a magnet for the fully embodied masculine and entertains nothing less. So that's a pretty, well,
That's a good message.
I was gonna say, that's a really good message. I don't even know if I even need to. Yeah, I'm losing my crown here. So the king, I'll show you the king. Now, I really love this one too, because now this almost looks like the sun and the moon here. So we've got the king and the queen. Put it in the right order. So the king and, oops, upside down. The king and the queen, and this is 12, 11 and 12. Let me tell you guys something. My birth path number is 11 and his is 12. King and queen. So 10 and 11 and 12, and the sun and the moon, and the seal. There's a seal in the middle of his hand. And we've been talking recently about the seals of Solomon, which Beverly, when we were in last week, we were talking, Beverly asked about Solomon. We are definitely going to be talking about Solomon and the seals of Solomon. We have the seals of Solomon and the rings. We're going to be talking about things about that with respect to sacred geometry, Metatron, the connections to that, and Solomon, the Song of Solomon. There's lots of things that have been brewing here about all of that. So thank you also for your interest in that. And if there's anybody, if there's any particular gods, goddesses, ideas that you guys would like us to research and bring up, then let us know. Let us know in a comment. And we look at that as a sign and a synchronicity that maybe it's something that we need to look into, that maybe there's threads that all of you would like to hear about and share. So
we also invite you to come and talk about it.
Yes, come and visit us. We're actually in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area too, for physically. So not only to come in the hot room, in the Zoom room, to come and hang out with us, but we also invite you to come here and sit in the throne, do a hangout with us, do some light languages. So that's one thing that we want to encourage all of you as well. And all of you to do here is to physically come and meet, of course, when we're allowed to touch again. We're allowed to touch, and you guys can come here and touch us because we're okay. So, come on by, sit in the throne, come and do a hangout with us. We would love nothing more. So come and hang. So the king, so I'm also seeing the sun within us. So I'm seeing all of these, the red, orange, yellow, vibrant fire colors within us. This idea of the root of all of us is sovereignty. The root of all of us is a king and a queen. The root of all kings and queens, King David. So, and the idea of these first reflections of source. I cannot believe this is 11 and 12. I just like the synchronicities, queen of synchronicity. Anyway, and the seal in here, what is it? Is that I can't tell if this is it looks like a gem of some form, or maybe an amber crystal, if you look at the ring that I have on right now, I was guided to wear this ring. It's hard to tell. It's kind of a gold. It's like a kind of it also looks like a yellow topaz, which is my birthstone as well. And so it almost kind of looks a little bit like that color, but
it might just be a piece of gold.
It could be even a piece of, well, you know what? It could be a piece of gold. And here we're talking about gold, and we've got the blue and gold. The king, the ruler, the commander, the emperor. So we have the empress and the emperor. If our lives are imagined as a kingdom containing the entire spectrum of human experience, the king presides over it all. Through the lens of the king, we assess the state of our land, make decisions, and rule accordingly. And I will say to you guys, I had a conversation literally with King David the other day, and that is exactly what he said to me. That he assesses the state of the land, making decisions and ruling accordingly. And having to assess things from a much higher perspective and making decisions that were the way it was put to me was the decisions that were made from a higher perspective. And he literally said to me, what decisions left peace in his heart. And that is the only way that I can tell all of us to, if we aren't already, to do so. And to those of us that are and are questioning it, to continue to follow that, follow your heart, follow that inner guide, follow that fire within you. And even now we're being asked to stand in our truth, in our vibration, and making a conscious decision every single moment of what we will and will not engage in, and what it is that we want to put fire to. What is it that we want to put energy to? Which side of this spectrum do we want to put our energy to? And can we see this from what's best for the entire earth? And as the king has to make these decisions about what is best for all of the land, that may not always be even the most popular thing to do, but he must still stand within his truth and know that in the end, he is doing what he feels is true to what is best for all of the kingdom. Therefore, the king must be thoroughly and regularly vetted as to avoid corruption. And I think when I say that, I'm even hearing how we keep each other in check, how we are always, and Dave and I do this all the time to each other, we're always, are we in our highest vibration? How can we see this from a different point of view? So where can the world, I'm trying to explain what they're saying to me. How can, say, the powers that be vetted right now in avoiding corruption? I've been getting a lot of messages about things that are going to be revealed to us. And I'm not the only one, of course, that has been getting these messages, but things that are going to be revealed to us, and that there will be moments when we will be, it'll be easier to want to take the easy way, but we know that is not, that is the old way, not the new way. And I just feel like this idea of being regularly vetted to avoid corruption. And I say that not in necessarily corruption necessarily, but in a corruption in our energy. Are we allowing circumstances to corrupt our energy when we know inside that we have the choice to not experience? We don't have to allow that idea into what's happening. We can allow it to see that the vetting is happening. Okay, maybe that's what I'm trying to say. The vetting is happening. It's being made aware. We're being made aware that we no longer have to, we don't even have to see it as corruption. We don't even have to see it as someone else in control. And I even remember Bashar once said, when the people lead, the leaders will follow. And I'm being told right now, the people are being asked to lead, and the powers that be are being vetted. And that's kind of what's, I think, happening in a global way right now. And I don't say these things lightly. Recognize the dual nature of the king. He is either seated in benevolence and strength, guiding you toward peace, or he is oppressing the weak out of a need to control. Well, there we are. He is oppressing the weak out of a need to control. There is not much middle ground. Some think of the king as the ultimate expression of the ego. Yet the great kings of mythology, if we've talked about this in other Fridays, the great kings of mythology and history serve from an egoless place. They take their throne with grace and humility, knowing the divine uses them as a channel to heal deep and long-standing discrepancies in the kingdom. And I just had that conversation too with Dave recently about the information that he's been receiving. And it was just even kind of almost comical the way he said it, because it was like, oh, I'm just receiving information. And I said, well, that's channeling. I'm like, no different than how I get it. Oh, no. But it's like, no. It's no different. It's no different. So if that in of itself, I think says what we've already been talking about. And when this is in light, it is benevolence, divine leadership, and this is what we're all being asked now. Divine leadership, service, and nobility. When it's dark, we are in oppression, misuse of power, and corruption. So
everybody get on their thrones.
There you go. Everybody get on your thrones. And also the temple card had fallen out, and actually I lost the page, so maybe I'll come back to it. Because there's a couple of other things I wanted to show you guys. So maybe I'll come back to the temple card.
I'll look for it.
Thank you. So I wanted to share with you, first of all, I was going to look here just to see. Oh, Clear Blue Jay, you're getting married. Are you asking us? Is that a question for us? Well, not today, I don't think.
There's only today.
Oh, that's right. There's only today. Okay. So, well, I guess it's done. I'm checking you guys out. I'm looking at all the messages from you guys. I just wanted to say, oh, Tree Hugger, Dave Mahoney. I love it. We empower the divine connection to the sacred connection at the collective consciousness stream. Yes. Oh, 11:11 and 12:12. So thanks for pointing that out. And Temple, beautiful. Hi, Alicia. Hey, girl, hop in whenever you can. The king is always the sun and the queen is always the moon. Well, yeah, that's what we're kind of been finding out too. So CBJ, Earth is getting hitched. You guys are funny. So just check. I wanted to thank all you guys and just make sure I didn't want to miss any messages. And thank you all for joining us and hanging out with us and hop in the room. Oh, so thank you for the temple. So thank you. So one of the things that I wanted to we were just talking about this, and I haven't, I have not read this card. So I want to show you guys this card, the temple. And it just happens to be, of course, a pyramid shape. And we've got the vines. And if you look, it's almost very kind of similar to the vines and things on my robe here. But how many of us and our ET friends and are using the triangle, the pyramid, as a symbol and for greater knowledge, greater learning, Egypt, secret knowledge, the mysteries, all of that. So one of the things that I've always been really embroiled in is this idea of the high priest and priestesses, the embodying the energy of the pyramids. I've said in several of my videos over the years that I've been guided that, and also through information I've received through Bashar and about pyramids in general, and about how between all of this information, how, as many of us already know, more pyramids are going to be unearthing. There's pyramids on every continent, every country. We're discovering that there's pyramids right here in the United States, in North America, and of course, South America. But in North America that are they're hidden. They're in many, many states. And as I'm showing rising, as these are rising, in other words, being unearthed all over the world, we're going to be actually activating these higher dimensional energies that are within the secrets of these pyramids, but also the way that they connect to each other, the way that they connect to the pyramids on Mars, on the moon. We're talking about the moon and Queen, how there are pyramids on other planets. They're all connected in some way to help us now to uncover this king and queen information, the high priest, priestess, the god and goddess information and energy that we have been, maybe we weren't smart enough to use it properly yet. And now the time has come, the age of Aquarius, awakening our DNA, activating the power within us, activating this pyramid energy, this Egyptian energy around us. So activating the temple. And so on this one, I don't know if you guys can see, there's pyramids in every single corner. And the elements, I wanted to remind you guys too, that the elements, it's on a different deck. I don't have it in front of me, but the elements are also represented by triangles. So we've got the triangle with upside down, right side up, and then also with the line above it, depending on where the line is. So all of that are indications to us too, that the elements are connected to these ideas and these energies. And boy, I'm really losing my crown here. That creating this temple within your own sacred space and creating the temple within your own space, that it creates the sanctuary, creates that altar. Creating the altar helps create that sanctuary. So it's interesting, as I mentioned, I have not read this book yet. So this is the first time I pulled this temple card, and I'm also seeing this blue and green energy. So I'm getting this really deep heart chakra coming from the sun inside of us, the solar energy in our solar plexus, and then the green heart chakra energy, speaking our truth, the blue energy, and of course the blue of the crown, the blue, the royalty of the blue, and using our heart and soul energy to make decisions and to speak from that place. The temple, the sanctuary, the shrine, the altar, and that's exactly what it says. When we think of the temple, we often envision an architectural structure in a far-off land. We are quick to distance ourselves from the sacred, assuming we must expend much effort in order to arrive there. Yet, the temple is a universal and omnipresent energy. The temple, as we've been told how many times, this is our temple. We are the temple. Yet the temple is a universal and omnipresent energy. So the temple is the energy within us. And we think of the Merkaba. It's two triangles, it's two pyramids, it's an inverted spinning. This is our fuel, that's our motor. The temple is a universal and omnipresent energy accessible in the highest and lowest, richest and poorest of places. Visiting the temple might be as simple as stepping into the dappled light of the forest. And if any of you guys have seen some of my videos, that's exactly how I felt when I was making those videos, was this reverence, the dappled light in the forest was my temple. Slowly and sensually kissing a lover or closing your eyes to travel inward.
I hear you calling me.
Yes, I am. Or kissing a lover or closing your eyes to travel inward. This card is a call to re-examine what you pay homage to, and what you reject. What do you spend your time worshiping? Your phone? Money? Material goods? Are we being asked about all of that right now? What barriers do you draw between yourself and the sacred? Perhaps there is room on your altar for something new, something surprising. Offer it to the heavens. And even if it's a feather, even if it's a penny, a coin, a crystal, again, when we offer, we're offering to the altar, we're offering to the heavens to say, I give permission to expand, to explore, to touch my divinity, to activate my divinity, and to then bring that to the earth and bring this divine energy once again back into our power, the divine power, and remember that we are the ones who choose. We are the leaders. We choose who leads us. We choose. When light, there's reverence for all life and life as a sanctuary. And that is exactly how we truly want and intend our lives, even every day, to in reverence for all things and life being a sanctuary. And when it's dark, what is it? I can't even pronounce that. Idols, idolatry, cults, strict spirituality. So
Believe in following idols, I guess.
yes, and in other words, again, looking for someone else to give us their power because we believe we don't have our own power. We don't have, when we show reverence for all and life is our own sanctuary, we don't need to follow anything. We belong with each other, but we're not following each other. There's a big difference when in joining each other and following. And even the greatest healers have said, don't follow me, be me. You are me. You have the same power I do. I'm just showing you that. I didn't come to be followed. I came to be an example, an archetype. And I'm feeling, okay, go ahead.
I was going to say,
yeah, go ahead.
We also found reference to the idea of Jesus also being from the David lineage.
Yes, exactly. And I'm glad that you brought that up too, because there's a lot of information that I have been that has come into my awareness ever since meeting Dave. And one of the things that even before I met him in my meditations was that idea that and I even said to him, the connections, I feel this connection to Jesus, this idea of this healer, teacher of the teacher's archetype energy. And I didn't really understand it. And the more that we explore these archetypes and explore these kings and queens, explore the gods and goddesses energy, the more that we're exploring even old texts, scriptures, the Torah, all of this, we're beginning to really see, oh my gosh, there are actual connections to these things, to the aquamarine crystal and the lion energy and the unicorn. And that, even as Dave mentioned earlier, we didn't even realize until this week doing this research that the coat of arms and the England, all of that was depicting the unicorn. And this is something that all of us, not all of us, but so many of us, and for those of you who know me, or if you don't, I have a little unicorn statue outside whose name is Eclipse, and I've shared pictures of it here and there. But this idea of the unicorn energy, that we think of it as silly, we think of it as childish, we think of it as play. We've talked about unicorns before, and I've talked about them lots of times in my videos because I've got the little stuffed unicorns and things. But isn't that interesting that we never actually looked at it from a royal position, from a higher dimensional position? That idea of Pegasus, of flying, of unicorns being magic and powerful. And what were I was trying to remember some of the reasons for the unicorn being that representation. And I offer all of you guys to explore it and even share it back with us, anything that you guys might find about that. But it was very interesting. I just couldn't believe the connections. I was shocked, actually. So, and many of you, I wanted to, oh wait, where's my unicorn card? I pulled the unicorn card earlier because I wanted to share it with you guys. There was a couple of different ones that I pulled, and oh, here it is. And also, if we have the opportunity to share a little bit of information about the aquamarine as well, because of its connections and the things that we have discovered about it, and Also, I just really wanted to share this with you guys really quick too. Okay, so with respect to temple and temple incense, things along that nature, Dave has been researching specific temple concoctions of essential oils, and he'll tell you a little bit more about that, but to make a specific type of temple oil, which is a combination of many sacred oils. And one of which I just smelled for the first time yesterday, is agarwood. Agarwood, is that if I'm saying
Agarwood?
agarwood? Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get it in. Agarwood. I'm trying to get it in focus. It's AGARWOOD, essential oil. And this stuff is absolutely, what did you say? It's supposed to be like the most powerful or potent aphrodisiac? I'm telling you guys, I can't even smell this stuff. It's crazy. It's so intense. And it literally took me to a magical forest when I was smelling it, and lots of powerful unicorns. And I'm telling you, this stuff. So when we talk about essential oils, and this is just one of the brand names, I think this says all for export, ALLF, or the number 4, excuse me, export. And this is one of the things that we were talking about, that when you're burning incense and smelling these things, and we use temple oils in we have an incense, like an electric burner too, that we use, and where you can drop the oils in. And so it literally creates this essence of connection. And we talk about flower essences. Many people work with flower essences and make flower essences and use them as tinctures and ways to connect with our divine and our divine goddess. This smell is like one of the most intensely, I can't even describe how it makes me feel. And it definitely is exotic and definitely aphrodisiac, because it's like it's like you smell it and you can't get enough of it, but it's almost too much. It's like, oh, I love it.
So I wanted to show the,
the
British coat of arms.
Oh, yes, thank you.
That's the British coat of arms. And of course it talks about Elizabeth, daughter of Sophia, married Elector of Hanover, and their oldest son became George I of England. The great grandson of James I became King of Britain and Ireland in 1714, introducing the sovereignty of his kingdom, the House of Hainaut over Brunswick. The present Queen Elizabeth, is direct descendant of King David of the Old Testament, talking about the fact that people thought that some of the kings were of German descent, but it turns out that they actually weren't. And German kings had never ruled Britain at any time. But it also talks about the lion and the unicorn people.
Yes, thank you.
And there's reference in some biblical references, and then it says the only people represented today by the lion and the unicorn together are the British people. The royal coat of arms has on one side the central shield of a crowned lion representing the royal kingdom, and on the other side a unicorn with a chain representing strength. So the unicorn represents strength.
So there we go. So and the horn on the unicorn, I've been guided as being that magical compass, and that idea of strength and focus, but magic. But isn't that interesting how even today, there we are, the reminder to us about that idea of unicorns. And there was a lot of different information that David read throughout the week of different threads with this. And so rather than reading this stuff to you guys all the time, we once again invite you to research this stuff, whatever threads that excite you. And then, because there's information for you, there's there's activations for you, transmissions for you. And I will say, even, well, that's something that my guides said to me a while back, was when I was doing light languages and presenting the alchemy of these things together. They said to me, these are actually transformational transmissions. These are actual transportational transmissions. And that's what they said to me, was these messages that come through, these light language transmissions, literally transform and transport us. And so that's what they said to me, was part of what you're doing. And then along with, say, for example, the light codes from the sun and the written light codes. And that's something Jody, I'm happy. Hi, Jody. I'm so happy you hopped in because that was something I wanted to share with you guys too, is something that happened synchronistically with some codes, that literally symbol codes, light codes, those types of written light codes and sacred symbols and circuitry that had come through, and some interesting synchronicity with that. So, but what I will say is that these literally do transport you to other places. And when we are creating these, what was the purpose behind you wanting to create, researching all the different oils to make the one, was it one temple oil?
Well,
like
there's an incense whose formula is in the Bible, and there's some question about exactly how it's translated and what the ingredients all are. But because we are creating an altar and we have the Ark of the Covenant and the Torah and a bunch of other Jewish related things, and then we, one of the reasons why we ask you to look up this information yourself is because you start looking up some information and you find information about something else, and it takes you through a bunch of breadcrumbs that gives you all this information. Some of it's activating, some of it informative to remind you of other things. So, of course, I found about the Akasha wood and the incense and the importance of incense and how incense is supposed to precede even the prayer. And
yes,
that whole thread of information that we were following, which of course then led to other things. And so I decided I would try to find some essential oils that match the types of ingredients found on the temple altar, because we do burn incense every morning. Wendy burns stuff on the altar. So I thought, well, doesn't it make sense to try to come up with something close to the biblical formula for the incense that goes along with all these things? So through some research and a lot of experimentation on buying different things, we're sort of coming up with our own little incense formula. So it's interesting because using the essential oils will allow us to make incense sticks, which we've never done, but it sounds like a pretty cool project.
So now he's got all the supplies to make incense.
But if you have, when you have weights and measures of herbs and other types of spices, they don't translate exactly to the oils because the oils are concentrated. So, when you have a 1-to-1 ratio of two different things,
right,
it's not a 1-to-1 ratio with the oil. So trying to figure out how to make it smell proper and not overwhelming, or one
I can't even imagine. I mean, I lost count of how many we've already bought to make.
Yeah, I think there's
there's a lot,
how many.
A lot.
And some of them there's a question about exactly how many.
And even the names are different than they used to be.
Some only occur in certain forms. So to try to get an oil-based thing that is in the form that it's supposed to be, we have to experiment. So it's fun. It's always fun to play with incense and essential oils. And as we find out, some smell really good, and some you could just put a drop on an incense burner. And
some incense, really I'm like.
So maybe you have some light language that wants to come out from the agar wood itself.
Oh, see, well, see, this is one thing that Dave always reminds me too, is that when we're doing these hangouts to bring through the energies and bring through whatever messages or light languages may come through. And I have to say, I wanted to comment on Dahlia Rose. She says that the unicorn's horn represents the wide open third eye chakra, as do the wings of the Pegasus represent their open heart. And so I wanted to mention that because that was probably the most the weirdest, but yet coolest part of my experience was when I was smelling this. Was it literally transformed me. Not only, if I can explain and just experience just a little bit, I was transformed into the tree itself, this tree, and then it told me these, this stuff is so intense. It's like, whew, it's like, whew. It literally transported me to the tree itself, then transported me into itself and explained like its connections to other things. And then it was as if I became, or we became like riding the Pegasus. Like it literally transformed into this, like literally riding the unicorn, the Pegasus, and what it felt like to be like flying through the trees. I even said it was like that scene in Star Wars, you know, with the speeder. It was like that. It felt just like that, flying at this speed, and everything was just like all these trees were zooming by me. So it even on my fingers right now, I can smell it, and it's just you literally become the energy of it. And I was just looking at one of the notes that from Tree Hugger, interesting perspective. Do we get to experience the frequency of the plasma of 4/4/2020 grand solar flash alignment? Well, I would say most of the time your answer's in your question. So if you're even having the energetic idea to even ask the question, I would say that the answer is usually a positive of that is what you're being guided and being told. So, well, he was talking about the oil in reference to the oil dilutions as well. So I would say that he was talking about that's funny, 4/4/2020 as a dilution ratio. So that's actually kind of interesting. See, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. That may be an answer. That may be a ratio that you're being downloaded right now to say, guys, that's the ratio. So maybe that's something that Dave might put in the back of his mind to remember, like maybe it actually has something to do with, and tomorrow is 4/4/2020. So why wouldn't that be? And today's 4/3, which is 7. So 7 is an amazing, of course, number representing spirituality. And then, goodness gracious.
And we just happened to get this just in time. I had this order for like
a long time, and it just came. Like, was it yesterday? Yesterday, I think. Yeah. So last night was the first time I smelled it. And then I was just reminded that today is number 11. Today's date equals number 11. So we've got the 7 for the 4/3, and then we've got the 11 energy of the total. So we've got the 7/11 energy, this powerful spiritual energy, and then the 11 of the master vibration number. So all of this feeds into I'm hearing frequency again, about how when we are smelling these smells, we are creating a particular vibrational frequency. It's a frequency, just like color. Smell is a color, is a frequency, is a sound, all of that. So I've got the animal spirit deck in front of me here, and I've got the unicorn card. And what I thought I would do is actually take a moment to do a light language blessing. And I want to say hi to Angela too. I was looking to see if there was any other notes. Yeah, Angela says there's no accidents, guys. And I love that you guys are all interacting with each other. And I want to say hi to my friend Pam. Hey, girl. Hey. Pam was one of the people that really embodies this idea of intention and incense and creating a sacred space, and with music and lights and scents and sounds and food and relics. She just sent me a picture today, which I shared on my Facebook page, of Buddha, of just wishing everybody a beautiful day. So just a beautiful, serene picture, but that picture of itself, it has a frequency. It as soon as I saw it, feel it, I shared it because it has a frequency I wanted to share with all of you. So I wanted to thank Pam for that. Thanks for being here. And thank you, Pam, for helping me create sacred spaces and be more creative, be more me, be more of, this is my sanctuary, this is my temple, this is my altar, and creating that space inside and out, and bringing that to the human collective consciousness. I learned a lot by being with you in your home, because of the way you present everything, the way you present the smells and the candles and the incense. And so that was a huge activation for me as well, to continue the work that we're doing, but also to talk about this stuff, to talk about this idea of reverence and the God and goddess energy, and what does incense and essential oils and crystals have to do with all of that, and how does it play into our daily lives. So I wanted to thank all of you for that, and to let you know that it does mean a lot to me. So Zivashono taviasa elekotoveshana te iliana te balone malakesevashono sove alakesesa somotoreke. Mi ama se fashono toriana iki kia tora versene te balone malakota veshota vese samatoreke hilaha la ishamadore avakota vesana talian bokora la heloki I tavasonose. Mi tayana mi alakota maloko sabalotura iashe imahi alakesema sutavese. Sinate imaya maya anamalakotava kotoria hanu namalakota vasha soku mi hale sonone na ya vasho to hamo ma anamalakota reveshano sete kia manto de vaso imaliano malakota reveshano nia e vasho se vasono malaha mashano tavakote se vasone se vasolata se no malaka veshano te vano malakote pietove sheke Sino toviana I malubase mi tavasona teva mi tavasona elese sabasuke mi avia shana teva la malavasote velatore I man sovasete si vashona teviana malako ma ala fasete mura shasasana e samatore vashona teva nana kupa asetore shana neana mi lavatore ki masoto fashe amabaya davesula atoriasa Se vasamia dara che te vesoa, abusonovelo to veshano, mo pare se te vala to vesana te lo fasano te velantoro, mala to vashato kutera, la yena na vala to veshasote, amaro fa la yena na seto, mi la ve to valia na nea soteria de carato, mola te veshasotaya, na se la fasa, sare che la to va alla vasotera, la nania torova culata I persona velana ti alla sote avana nania torova cala tarvashose mesete I tarasho mina veloto ru tarvashese ni caladiana tu fascio tiara atavese tu laro tu loro noto. If I could describe what I was seeing, basically they were showing me how the colors and the frequencies of when we are acting in our highest joy, it changes. And what if we could see the colors of our auras, of course, but if we could see the colors of how they see us when we're acting from this state of being. When I say they, I was feeling that the unicorn collective, you know, the lion collective, the wolf collective, all of these energies coming through that were explaining that when they see us in our joy, they see us as colors. And they said, okay, they said, it's musical. They said it's musical to us when you're acting in your highest joy, and embodying these frequencies. They're saying that the colors that we emit creates a sound frequency that is heard, which is measurable, which we can feel in this Schumann resonance, but that it's bigger than that. It's
like listening to a harmony.
Creation wide. Yes, it is. It's like they said, it's like listening to music, harmonic music. It's as if they're hearing ourselves in our most harmonic version of ourselves. And they said it actually emits sound and color, and it is a sound, it's a song, and the song changes because the colors of our frequencies change. It's very interesting what they were showing me visually as I'm speaking. So, and this is what happens to all of us when we start engaging these things in our reality. We can experience these messages, information. Today's number 11. Would you grab that for me, please? Thank you. I just want to show everybody today's symbol for 11, which is realize. And so in the honor of this idea of light language, the language of light, the languages of lights, that's what they told me when I started my channel was, these are the languages of lights. This is the languages that are being spoken of all the lights, of all that is, and our lights through the light languages, our lights meaning the emissaries of the light collective, the Ileana of the Elohim, all of this information of the light. They said, we are with you, all of us speaking the languages of the lights, of all the lights. And so also meaning that frequency, color, sound, scent, when we go outside, the sensory perception that we have creates a realization within us that we are more than we ever thought we were. And so today, being a number 11, the sacred circuitry brought to us. Now these were brought to us through Bashar, through Daryl as Sirius, from the star system Sirius, which is a whole nother link to us and the star systems and pyramids, and many of our cultures use Sirius and the star Sirius as guides, as connections. We're going to be getting into some very interesting Native American information here in the next few weeks and things. So today I wanted to touch on the idea of realizing that these symbols that we're seeing are also, maybe not they're new, maybe they're not new, you know, maybe these are old symbols that we're being reminded that we're being asked to activate in a new way now. So number 11 is realize, and in the spirit of language and vibration, if you weren't with us last week, I had asked Dave to take the sacred circuits from Sirius through Bashar and Daryl and actually translate or write down the Hebrew number associated with it, along with the Hebrew translation of the word itself, because I was just something I was guided to do, that there's an alchemization that happens with the combination of this. And there's a lot of reasons which aren't even necessarily conscious to me right now. but I'm holding them all up right now. So if you guys decide to take a snapshot of this, or we can even post this if you like, yeah, as long as Dave doesn't mind. We can post this if you like too, and so that you guys can see the intricacy of it and the vibration of it. And number 11 is realize. Let's see, there we go. So I just want to get a good, there we go. So I know it's going in and out of focus. Sorry, you guys. So there is a vibrational frequency with that idea of also displaying it in English and in Hebrew and in numeric form, in symbolic form, and then also in the numeric translation. I also have some very interesting cards from Dave that I'll be sharing with you guys in future Hangouts too, that have to do with a lot of different symbols and things that I'm seeing that have to do with Solomon and the King of and King Solomon, and very, very interesting, these ties. And so I wanted to share that with you as well, that today is about realizing more and more of all that we are, that the number 11 and 1111 is the call to arms, if you will, the call of the light. The number 11 is the master number, and 3 is the Trinity, the trinary consciousness, the 33, the idea of the 33rd, the 33, that crystal and Christos, Christ consciousness that runs, that golden thread that runs through all of us, how all of this is connected. And I wanted to share, I was guided to, I've got a couple of different things. So I'm kind of going where they're guiding me. And I was just checking to see if there was ever any other.
The crystals.
Yeah, the crystals I wanted to talk about too. Angel says, thanks, Dave. So I wanted to talk about the crystal and the aquamarine really quickly, because that's something I felt was really important for all of us, because I'm being guided to see, I was actually going to do something else. So it's funny that Dave said that, because now he's kind of redirecting that I'm feeling that it's very important. There's my wolf companion, ranger. We probably have a delivery. The connection with the aquamarine crystal that I just found out yesterday by doing some, I was walking in the yard yesterday, and all of a sudden I heard Saint Germain, the violet flame, Saint Germain, the violet flame, over and over again. And I had, first of all, I had picked up a violet, a little kind of a wild violet in the yard. And so the violet itself is also that connection to the violet flame. And it was even weirder is one of my Facebook memories came up today for, I think it was for today or tomorrow. And it's a violet. It's a picture of a wild violet that I took a long time ago. And so I was going to share it and I forgot today, but so that idea of the violet flame. And I then, and my research just on Saint Germain, and it was only one page that I was guided to out of all of the stuff that I Googled. And it, at the very bottom of the page, it said the aquamarine is also the, to connect to that. So the other thing that I wanted to, that I didn't want to forget was I didn't want to forget to bring up about the symbols that I did that were synchronistic too with Jody, that had to do with Atlantis. So the aquamarine, and I wanted to, Dave's going to hold this up for you guys. So we've got a bunch of different crystals on here. These are also the Andara crystals, which we're going to talk about probably another time because we don't have a lot of time. But if that's something else that if you guys want to research about Andara crystals, it's something we're going to be talking about. Dave has the full set here, and they've been around the world and very powerful. And so that was one of the things that wanted to be talking about as well. But today I wanted to share with you briefly about the aquamarine. And this is one of the newer, I was going to take it out, but because it's so beautiful, I really wanted you guys to see it. And the card that came with it, and this company is, oh have to share the name with you guys, but this is so beautiful. And I wanted to share it with you because it's so lovely. And the cut is just absolutely exquisite back and so but aquamarine, first of all, it's a birthstone from March. So to all of you who just ended your March birthdays, happy birthday. And aquamarine, just so you know, you March people that are, if you don't know, this is a very, very powerful crystal. And that if that is your birthstone, there's a very special reason for that. But I wanted to say about aquamarine too, there's a lot of very, the word holy comes to me, very, very high dimensional, lot of different king, queen, god, goddess energy in there now, along with this. And aquamarine, and this is the card that came with some of the other stones that Dave had gotten here that I'm going to show you. Aquamarine is a stone of courage, energy, and cleansing of the ocean. Its calming energies reduce stress and quiet the mind. Aquamarine has an affinity with sensitive people. It can invoke tolerance of others and overcomes judgmentalism, giving support to those overwhelmed by responsibility. Clarifies perception, sharpens the intellect, and clears confusion. Uses for closure on all levels, promotes self-expression. So that's part of what we're doing here today. Soothes fears, increases sensitivity. It sharpens intuition and opens clairvoyance. Wonderful for meditation. Shields the aura and aligns the chakras. That was another message that I was getting in the light language activation, was aligning our chakras, using crystals and colors to align our chakras. Highly protective during pregnancy. It helps to guard both mother and baby from harm, discourages miscarriage. It is also a throat chakra energy crystal, so it helps us speak our truth in our hearts. And I don't know if you guys can see the card. I was trying to look at the name. Azeztulight.com. It looks like AZEZTULIT.com. And these actually are raw aquamarine. So I wanted to show all of you the difference because there's a big difference. And the power that I have, now these are on the altar all the time, and I spend a lot of time with them and touching them, and many of them appear to be white. But they have this very subtle bluish green tint to them. And some of them are darker, a little bit darker blue or green than others. But I wanted to show you guys too that what they look like in the raw and how different they are, and how even this ring that was a gift to me a long time ago, I think might be an aquamarine, I'm not quite sure. And the way it's cut is pretty extraordinary. So we're going to be talking about cuts of crystals too at some point. But so I wanted to share just the energy of these because I wanted to mention my guides, the Aquamarine Stone Collective, wanted to mention that we are sharing this energy with all of you, that by displaying these and holding them up and showing them to you, all of us and all of you can connect to the energy of all of this aquamarine energy, and you don't even really need to possess one at all. Now, of course, it does amplify the energy if you do hold one and have one. And it does help you in receiving information and realizing things and connecting with the divine within you. And also I've been receiving so much high vibrational, I say high vibrational meaning connections to divine information and parts of me and explorations that I hadn't before, and reminding us how multifaceted that we actually are. And so by connecting with these on the altar, and then the research that Dave and I've been doing about the aquamarine, which I have, again, invite you all to do, it's been pretty amazing. So the card I'm going to show you actually looks like a temple, aquamarine. And this is out of the Crystal Ally Cards Evolution Edition book, and look at even her. She's even got a blue dress and wings, and look at all the blue energy. And this actually looks like a temple. And so the aquamarine card, which I'm looking to see, we've got water. It almost looks like reeds coming out of the water, and definitely a temple, and its release. So what is it that we want to release right now, globally, personally? The chakra is the throat chakra, aquamarine. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's pretty long, but I'll pick out what they want me to convey. And if I have the opportunity, I'll take a photo of this so you guys can read the whole thing. Aquamarine release, chakras, the throat chakra. Is that Vishuddha? Vishuddha. I believe that's how you pronounce that, the throat chakra. The affirmation is, I joyfully release anything that no longer serves my highest good. So I invite all of you to say that, repeat that throughout the day today. Tap into this aquamarine energy. Just ask the crystal to talk to you. That's all you need to do. An ancient temple made of aquamarine. Well, there you go. An ancient temple of aquamarine is submerged beneath the beautiful waters of the ocean. The temple has long been washed clean by the healing waters and now contains only light, providing a platform for new growth to emerge in the form of long fronds of seaweed. Aquamarine is a lovely blue variety of beryl. The stone opens and clears the throat chakra, facilitating communication. And this is something that's going on right now, isn't it? Communication. We're all being asked to communicate in a different way because our normal methods of communication have been altered right now. And enhancing your ability to perceive the energy behind the words of others. It is a water element stone, and so it reflects water's energy by promoting clarity, movement, and especially release. And there's a lot of other information in here about that, but I think that really hones in on a part of what we wanted to talk about today too, is about releasing any of this agitation, aggravation, energy, this uncertainty, maybe all of these things that we've all been feeling that may be affecting us every day, to really utilize this aquamarine energy to take the blessings of today, the intentions of today, and throughout the day asking ourselves, what can we release that is no longer serving us? And by doing this, we're releasing what's no longer serving us globally either as a collective consciousness. And so
I think you mentioned it already, excuse me, but Tree Hugger Dave says aquamarine is the violet flame.
Yes, exactly.
And, you know, you could use the violet flame and invoke the violet flame to help purify and to release. I could do the Wendy thing. Release things that no longer serve you.
Exactly, and under the water to cool but not extinguish one's inner fire. And that is very interesting too, because we were even talking today, I was talking today about this inner fire of feeling this inner fire, just wanting to burn and release this energy within, this fire burning within me. And I think that speaks for many of us right now. It's very interesting that I pulled the temple card in the other deck, and this is actually a temple made of aquamarine. So we're being asked again to create that temple, to go inside our temple, to go inside our temple, to create a temple, to release the things that are not serving us. And so there was something else I wanted to read you guys about aquamarine, but I don't have it in front of me. So I guess it's one of those things where I just Googled it. So I'm like telling you guys to Google it, because that was exactly what I found out. Tree Hugger Dave, was that that all about that idea of the inner, I was feeling that inner, them talking about that, about the inner fire. And So yes, Beverly, anybody losing time? Yes, we are, a bunch of us. And we were just talking about losing time this week. So very interesting about that too. So I was just looking to see, I thought there was something else I wanted to bring up about aquamarine that, but I wasn't sure.
Well, there were also connections to the aquamarine with.
Oh, it was with Saint Germain.
With Saint Germain,
yes.
But also the temple.
Yes.
The Jewish temple and King Solomon.
Exactly, and King Solomon. Oh boy, this has just disappeared altogether. There we go. Okay.
Who used aquamarine as well as other crystals and magical related things.
Yes.
So we haven't been able to find anything specific about aquamarine actual use in the Bible, but it does talk about it in a lot of different places, and a lot of people do discuss the royal use of aquamarine in crowns.
Oh yes, that's right.
Elizabeth's
we talked about, oh, that's right. There's something else about the
Hope Diamond collection had on aquamarine.
Yes, that's right. There was something about a staff too, wasn't there? Something about someone's, I can't remember whose it was, but the staff had an aquamarine at the top. So yeah, lots of references with the aquamarine. That, and I had no idea that it had anything to do with the violet flame or anything until this week. So following the threads and looking the stuff up yourself is one of the things that, like Dave said earlier, we want you guys, encourage you guys to do, because it's going to be different answers for you than it is for us. I was just looking to see what, she says she must get some when she could shop again. So yeah, and so again, and like the costumes and stuff, and you know, you can go to Walmart and buy costumes. You can go to, you know, you can buy them pretty inexpensively online. But again, you know, this, like this, for example, you guys, is an actual cameo that was just something I think I picked up. It was either a gift or it was something I picked up inexpensively in an antique shop. So, but again, it's like it doesn't have to be expensive for you to. Or even cost any money at all to explore your world. You can go outside and pick things and make yourself an altar, bringing the outside in. I keep hearing her question about losing time too, because it's just something feels important about that idea that we were told, and even by Bashar many years ago, that many of us, as the train tracks were splitting energetically, the frequencies were changing, and we're depending on which way we want to go, that how are they explaining this to me? Oh, well, maybe I'll have to come back to that. I was like, I went a whole different way, but the idea of that it doesn't have to cost any money in order to invoke this stuff. And even when we're creating things, and sorry guys, I've got like 10 like energies talking to me at once, and I'm trying to just assimilate all the ideas here. So let me just sit down for a second. Yeah, it's like, so actually I was going to read too Dave's message here. She said her class ring was aquamarine. Jody. Aquamarine harmonizes especially with tiger's eye. Oh, I didn't know that. And tiger's iron to anchor grounding when the energies get too intense. Well, that's amazing. So thank you. That's one of the things that we encourage you guys to do, is to share this information so that we all can benefit from it. So it had something to do with anyway about it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to cost money in order for you guys to tap into this stuff. And again, you can just use our aquamarines if you want to. So that really wasn't where I was going to go with all of that, but I was actually being guided to show you guys something else that, oh, I gotta see. I took a photo of it and I was going to share it with you guys, but I was gonna share it with you better, but I'm gonna show it to you just on the screen here if I can open it wide enough. No, I probably can't. I'll post this on my page so you guys can see it better, but I wanted to share something with you guys really quick too, that last week, Jody Reiki Medium had said in a post on Facebook about something about the, and maybe if you can tell me, if you can unmute Jody and tell me exactly what you said, but you were saying something about Atlantis. You said you felt something about Atlantean codes coming through, and let's see if I can, if you can't unmute yourself, let me know because it's acting kind of weird today. So I can't even really see I can't even really see the chat here either, you guys. So something really weird's going on. Oh, there you are. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hi.
Hi. So you had said something about energies coming in Atlantis or something. Oh, that's what it was. Light codes about Atlantis. And you asked me what I thought about it. And it was in the public chat. You guys can read it on Facebook. And it was very interesting because some codes had been coming through that day. And then, so I was writing them and I showed them to AJ here. And I said, do you get anything out of these? What do you think? Could you get anything at all? And I think his response was something like, well, I'm not sure I want to say or something. And I was like, well, just say say what's on your mind. And he says, well, I'm getting Atlantis. Well, of course, right away, I'm like, okay. So it was very, very synchronistic. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see these. And like I said, I'll share them on my page so you can see them better and bigger. But so all these codes started coming through. And so when he said that, I realized, Jody, that that's exactly what was going on. And so I wrote it on here, Atlantean key codes. And it was interesting because there's 2 pages to it. Oh, and this was on 3/28. So it was on March 28th. And so there's some more of them. I'll just kind of show you guys really, really quick here. But so I'll post this so you guys can actually look at them and download them if you want, and print them and stuff if you want to use them for whatever reason. But spirals is a whole nother thing that's been in my awareness for a long, long time. So I wanted to share that with you, Jody, because I didn't send you the pictures yet. So I'll send them to you too, so you can look at them. But I just found it very synchronistic that you had asked me that, these codes came through, then I asked AJ about it. And then, so it was like a confirmation to you and to me about all of that. So yeah, if you do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I was asleep and I heard a female voice say, it's time for you to remember your Atlantean key codes. And I was like, what the heck?
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So then you asked me about it. So how did you? So
I did a Google search for Atlantean key codes, and the only thing that came up was a light language. And so I looked on YouTube and they weren't really showing me what I wanted to see. So I asked you if you knew anything about Atlantean key codes.
So see, you guys, that's how that all came to be. So had she not shared it with me, I wouldn't have even put the pieces together. And then out of nowhere, asking somebody who has nothing to do with, AJ didn't even know, he didn't even know we were talking about any of this. And that's the first thing that came to him. So I just felt like this was a confirmation to both Jody and I, and to all of us, about that we're receiving these key codes. And lots of people now on the internet are sharing this stuff, and light codes and key codes and seals. People have been talking about seals, about how, I was thinking about the Solomon seals, and about how people are calling them seals, that I'm being asked to share these seals. It's almost like, and even that the king card had the seal in the middle of his hand. When I do that card. And how, I probably dropped it or covered it, but it had the seal in the middle of his hand. And so we know that royalty, and they actually would seal their letters with the seal of the king so that they would know it was from the royal house or whatever. I might have laid it down or dropped it someplace. So, but that idea of I do that all the time. I like lay them down. I'm like, what did I do with the card? But I'm hearing that about seals, that we're receiving like divine seals, if you will, which come by way of sacred geometry, codes like that, symbols, and how we're literally unsealing the envelopes of higher knowledge. We're opening that. Who knows, I might even be sitting on it.
Oh, maybe.
Is it over here? I don't know.
The other book.
Well, oh yes, it's probably in the book. Here it is.
All right.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you, Dave.
welcome. You're right.
Thank you, Dave. So there's the seal in the middle of what we would, of the wax seal. And even with my quill pens, I've got where you drip the wax, you put the metal seal on so that they know that that is the seal of the royal seal. So I just felt like I wanted to share that with all of you guys and to let Jody know too, that this was very synchronistic for both of us, and that many of us are feeling, and this ties into the crystal skulls, feeling these energies, feeling these pyramid energies, the pyramids that I feel are like we've talked about before, pyramids rising from the ocean. And now we've got the aquamarine, the water card. So I feel like this is all related to that idea of the mysteries being brought up from the oceans, the pyramid energy being brought up, all of that. So I just felt like all of this was intertwined. And even the other day, which I'm going to get into a little bit later, but I wanted to share with you guys really quick too yesterday that I was getting this idea of, not just yesterday, they were reminding me that many, many years ago, I had received information from my guides about, and maybe you guys have, maybe this is common knowledge, I don't know, but that the lemur that live only in Madagascar are connected to Lemuria, that if you connect to the lemur, animal lemur, that we can, all of us, gather information and be remembered, or remind ourselves about these energies from the gods and goddesses, queens, kings, priests, high priestesses of Lemuria as well. So that I was reminded about yesterday, and actually started looking up things about the lemur and Lemuria and Madagascar. And so how all these threads start going out, and how I'm guided to mention them. So a lot of times I have these ideas of what I want to share with you guys, and then different things come up. So that was one of the things I wanted to mention too, was about the lemur and Lemuria, because I feel like there's information about that out there for all of you guys, and also about the aquamarine, and even this idea of the blue, the color blue, royal blue, the throat chakra, the indigo, so the third eye chakra. So we've got the blue throat chakra, the indigo blue third eye, the violet, the violet flame, and so forth. So the ultraviolet, that's what I was hearing yesterday, ultraviolet, this idea of ultraviolet energy, beyond the violet, beyond, it's almost like I was even hearing, even with Saint Germain, the beyond violet, beyond, and I was reminded too that the idea of Saint Germain is the idea of here helping humanity, supporting humanity, with this idea of the holy fire within us, and bringing that holy fire into our daily life with burning of incense, of the divine god and goddess, the crystals, of ritual, of ceremony, dressing up. So all of these things are, connections to the divinity within us, but again, it's because we're being asked to play these higher parts, higher roles in the physical reality so that we can raise the physical reality's vibration overall.
Right here
And I'm gonna unmute
in the
you.
door.
So that we're gathering all of this sacred knowledge again to illuminate that fire within us, that king queen energy within us, but to bring it here in order to raise the collective energy and to shift us into, as he said, shifting the train tracks, that the energy is shifting, that we're all being asked to choose the vibration of the earth that we decide that we desire. So I wanted to double check too to see if there's anything else you guys wanted to bring up here in the gallery here today, and also to thank all of you guys out there for your interactions. Hi Lisa, hi Florentine. So just wanted to say, I was just checking here. Oh, Jesse. Hi, Jesse. Jess. First time seeing this channel. I was guided here unexpectedly. Well, I love when that happens. Thank you. Welcome. And just so you guys know, if you're new to the channel, at the beginning of the live chat is the link to my website. But if you go to my Facebook page or my languagesoflights.com, there is a web page on there for events, Goddess Friday, and the link to join this room, the Zoom room here in the room with us today, is right there on there. And I also posted it in the live chat at the very beginning before we started the live chat. So it's the very first live chat if you want to hop in the room with us. So thank you for joining us. If you're new to my channel, thank you. We're here exploring. If you're new, whoops, I've got over 1,000 videos on my channel that run the gamut of light language activations and transmissions, inspiration, channeled messages, light codes, symbols, symbology, all kinds of things. So thank you for joining us. And if you're new to the channel, here we are. And you can look back at some of the past videos there, the links on the website as well to some of our past Friday, Goddess Fridays, as well as the Wednesdays that we were doing and light languages. And so to get familiar with the channel, so just to let you know who I am. And there's a little bit about my own ascension story on my website. And if there's questions, there's a contact page. You guys can contact me through my website. It goes right to my email. So I want to thank all of you guys for your contributions, your comments, your private sessions. I've got services on there. So all kinds of things. One of the things that I forget to talk about, which Dave reminds me, is some of the things I forget to talk about are the channeled messages come through, the private sessions, the information that comes through, the oracle, the information that comes through the oracle messages. And also, I also receive symbols that I write that come to me telepathically that help you on your divine path. They're very specific to you. And so by creating these symbols and scripts and receiving telepathic information, it's empowering to you. It helps open your telepathic abilities, your own third eye, your own ability to speak your truth, to hear your heart, to hear your angels, to hear the connections of all that you are, to be able to speak to stones, to be able to receive information, to talk to the animals, to understand, from a higher perspective, understand what your higher mind is showing you and telling you. So all of these things play into each other. We explore essential oils and crystals and how all of this plays into each other. But my channel really was born because of light language. It's because of my discovery of my own connections to the Elohim, the angels, the emissaries of the light collective that came to me and said, this is what we are, this is what you are. It is also our highest joy and excitement, as is yours, to experience this with you. We are experiencing a human collective consciousness. We are experiencing the ascension of a consciousness, a collective consciousness. This has never been done anywhere. So this is the premise of the channel. The premise of these hangouts is to create the space to be together, be crazy, be silly, be explorative, to be multidimensional, to not be afraid to say, I dreamt this, I felt this, I I drew this, I don't understand, I woke up and I'm speaking these languages I don't understand, or my friends are speaking languages I don't understand, or my children are. Maybe you want to learn more about meditation, or all of these things are all just part of all of that I wish to explore. And how that when I met Dave, and we haven't, and just so you guys know, we haven't really known each other for very long. We met in July of 2018 through a private session, and he was pretty adamant about about connecting with me for some reason. And I did a light language event, my very first one, where we had an event with people and did it in a hotel, and it was a wonderful experience. And I got to meet Dave and his grandson AJ for the very first time physically. And so that was back in August of 2019. So my entire life has changed since that time. I've begun I've relocated to a new state, began a new relationship, a whole new journey, and all of you guys have been doing this with me. And for those of you who have been with me since the beginning of my channel, you've watched my transition. You've seen how even I, and doing this with all of you, has empowered me, how I've changed, how I've evolved because of all of you and because of doing this. And how even on the days when I feel like human, you know, who am I to share this information that I'm receiving? And what if I'm just making it up? Or what if but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because if it's an experience that I can share with all of you, or your experiences that you can share with me, or our experiences with you guys, how do we become the highest version of ourselves in order to truly connect with the highest version of everything that's in our vortex, everything that we want in our lives that we don't even know what that we want? It's about allowing, and as Dave reminds me all the time, and Cryon reminds us, channeled by Lee Carroll, it's forget everything you ever knew. Forget everything that you ever understood about yourself. Forget everything you ever understood about physical reality. Forget everything you ever believed that was not possible. That's what this is about. It's about reminding us to empower ourselves. And I'm reminded all the time, also by Dave, that how can we be in our highest joy and excitement, even if it's something that we're experiencing that we may not truly desire? How is it that we can change the vibration, that we change the reflection of what we create in our physical reality, whether it's personally or collectively? What else do you want to say about that?
Well, when I went out to check on AJ, he mentioned about aquamarine and Atlantis.
Oh, yes.
And I thought immediately, well, of course, aquamarine, Atlantis, it makes perfectly good sense.
And I thought of Aquaman.
Well,
and the trident.
So I just looked up quickly something, and of course, the first thing that came up, aquamarine, a splendid blue gemstone whose name originates from the Italian word for seawater, embodies the splendor of the sea. A member of the beryl family, aquamarine is a sister to the rich green emerald. It can be found in a range of pale blue hues and aqua green colors. Legends refer to aquamarine as the treasure of Atlantis.
Oh my God. The treasure of Atlantis. Thank you, AJ.
And of course, it also says the Greeks and Romans revered the aquamarine as a sailor stone of protection, was commonly worn to ensure safe and prosperous passage across stormy seas. The Sumerians, Egyptians, and Hebrews also admired and valued aquamarine gemstones. So there's lots of more information, which of course, as we say, you could all look up. But you know, it just shows how coming together like this really does connect the dots on things that may not specifically have anything to do with what we
Yes.
are meaning to talk about.
That was awesome.
But you know, the mention of Atlantis and the codes and all that other stuff, and we just happen to be talking about aquamarine, and I've never, other than the obvious idea of aquamarine and Atlantis, but apparently there's a connection there as well.
That's pretty exciting, you guys. So I would have to say then that based on that, and thank you, AJ, for that, because that really spurned on something, because that just confirms what I was receiving all day, you guys, about the aquamarine and you guys connecting to this and the Atlantis key codes and the things that I drew and the things that Jody was feeling, the things that AJ's been feeling, the things that I and Dave have been feeling, that how all of this is connected, and we're being reminded. And this isn't a whole nother thing, you guys. We're being reminded we do not have to repeat that.
And the emergence of the violet flame becoming available, and widespread knowledge about it being talked about.
Absolutely.
In forms of that.
This is really, really incredible. And there's more in shows to come and webinars to come. There are things that we are going to be talking about Aquaman and showing the relics that we've been collecting with respect to these ideas with Aquaman and how all of these are all of us, all of these representations of archetypes. And I, for some reason, I cannot get Neptune, the vision of Neptune, the god Neptune, out of my head right now because of this.
Well, because I was just thinking about Neptune and how it's funny, because I was looking for some kind of costume that would sort of resonate with me for a king kind of outfit. And this particular outfit I have on is actually a King Neptune costume.
Yes, it is. And the Neptune, and the little Neptune thing that
wasn't intentional.
It was funny. It was just funny how that happened. And then there was a little Neptune trident thing on it. It was kind of fell off, and he's like, oh, well, that's okay. But isn't it funny how we've come full circle now to talking about Neptune again? So maybe there's some Neptunian energy here that you guys, that maybe Neptune, the god and the planet, that frequency are here with us right now. And then that's not, okay, let me rephrase that. That's not a question. That's an answer.
And I'm guided to go get
it.
The trident.
Go ahead. We have to show you guys. This thing is so awesome. I like to call it badass because it's badass. And this thing is so heavy, so real, so dangerous. Don't forget the bottom part. And when I first saw it, I literally, you guys, started like vibrating with the energy, and there's symbols, and it's like, this is why we start talking about this stuff about artifacts and relics, because I'm telling you guys, it creates this vibration that's, and I had a meditation and a dream about these goofy symbols one night.
This is actual
this
metal.
This is really heavy, you guys. Very, 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 very sharp.
And this is the bottom end, which attaches, but there's Atlantean symbols.
Look at the Atlantean symbols on here, you guys. So I don't know if you can see them close up here. Maybe we could take a photo and Dave can post it on my website so you guys can see it even better, and you can blow it up. But they're just incredible. And one night I was in a meditation, and all of a sudden the trident came, like, how do I explain this? The trident came into my meditation like it was right in front of me, like it was talking to me. And all of a sudden I started feeling these, symbols and like getting these vibrations from these symbols. And I'm like, what is happening to me? And the bottom, look at this thing, you guys. And even the bottom part, this goes in this way, but
they attach together because it's too dangerous.
It's too long. It's too dangerous and long to have. But isn't this incredible that these are the kinds of things that we're talking about, that, okay, maybe it sounds crazy. I mean, like, yeah, that's what I said that day when he says, oh, by the way, I got a trident coming. I'm like, but when I saw it and felt it and touched it, it's like that it's almost like that magic happens where you are transported, you feel the energy elicited in it. And so very interesting on how that's why we were so guided to share this stuff with you guys, whether it's, Harry Potter's wands, or, the Doctor Who stuff, or King and Queen, or God and Goddesses. lots of beautiful god and goddess energy coming up in more. There's Kuan Yin and of course Isis. And so again, we encourage all of you guys to bring your relics, bring your crystals, bring your questions. Are you drawing symbols? Are you, maybe the symbols you are drawing need to be shown here to activate other people. Maybe you should be sharing them out in the world. Maybe you should be printing them out for yourself. And maybe a lot of times, which was my experience too, when I first started drawing these light language symbols and scripts, was like, what does this mean? What do I do with it? How? And so one of the first things that they said to me was, well, first of all, work with them yourself. I would even cry sometimes as I'm drawing them, wondering what information's coming through. Why do I feel this way? What am I connecting to? Why do I feel so passionate about this? Why do I feel so passionate about sharing them? So that was part of it too, was the activation of those symbols helped activate all of this with me in my journey. I want to say thank you too to Lisa for saying hi and my journey to Florida. And it was.
I'm looking up right now where I actually got the trident from.
Oh, okay.
She asks.
Oh, thank you. Okay. And I'm telling you, this thing is the real deal. It's incredible. And so as Dave starts introducing, and these things just kind of, they sort of show up, or he's guided, or I'll say something like, I had this feeling of, or I had this meditation, or I had this idea, and all of a sudden, before I know it, something's at the door to help me and connect more fully to that. And his encouragement in embracing all of this. I'm so excited to bring in more to come in videos on my channel, as well as Hangouts. Native American energy, the things that I've been receiving about that, embracing my shamanic energy, embracing the shaman in us, and activating the shaman with it in all of you. And the thing, we got a teepee, and there's some other things, surprises that I want to show you guys. And so literally a teepee. So it's actually like a tent in a teepee shape, but it's so cool. And so he has been, I can't say we, because he has been buying things to adorn it and make it feel as if it was authentic. And I'm telling you, you guys, I have been so passionately connecting with my Native American spirit guides. Something that happened to me a long time ago when I first started waking up was they made their appearance to me. One was like a male chief tribe leader, and one of them was a female guide, young kind of idea. Each of them have their own guidance for me. And I for them. They come to me also for guidance. And that's another thing I wanted to mention to you guys, that it's not just one way. They also come to me for guidance. And I wanted to bring that up too. And I've seen, because of my activating to my connecting to this information, it activates the remembering in me the parallel lives as a seer, as a shaman, as the utilizing plant medicine, herbs, the speaking to the elements, teaching through word, and teaching through example, things that are not written. Many of us are discovering now that even something Dave was reading the other day, which there was a tribe, something that he was looking up, that it was one of the Native American tribes, and none of their information had ever been recorded in writing. And they were thinking, the tribe itself was thinking lately, that maybe they should start recording it in writing, because all of their teachings were only verbal, and they're afraid it's going to get lost. So one of the things that we've talked about in previous webinars on Fridays is about writing this stuff down, and to help those that I truly feel one day are going to be reading our journals, wondering what the heck happened, what was going on, just like we are about Lemuria and Atlantis. What do you got?
So I bought this from the Etsy website. It was one of a kind, and it was handmade in Belgium. So there are no more left. It was one of a kind. And I actually can't even bring up, for some reason, information about the guy who made it, who normally, you know,
Oh,
the seller
the seller,
person shows
okay.
up, but because this was the one that he had,
Oh.
there's nothing else that it looks like he's selling, but it came from Belgium. So some guy in Belgium made this and sent it to me. And I do want to also just mention, we're talking about the king and queens and the throne and Queen Elizabeth. And this is going to be for another day's discussion, but I do want to show it because it's right next to me.
Sure, go ahead.
But
oh yes, I'm glad you mentioned that because of the throne.
the Stone of Destiny. This is a model of it, smaller size, and it looks real, but it's plastic.
Because yeah, it's plastic.
It looks real,
and it actually looks and feels real because, well, he also painted it with stone paint because he didn't like the way it looked plastic. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna get some stone paint painted. So see, we're just playing. But
so the Stone of Destiny was used in the coronations of all the kings and queens from England and I think Ireland, and you could look it up. It's a pretty obvious thing, easy thing to find out, but also had to do with, I believe it was under King David's throne,
yes,
and in the Jewish temples.
That is correct.
And actually goes back to Jacob from the Bible, when I believe the story is he was traveling somewhere and he laid down to rest and he laid down on a stone, and that was when he had the dream about Jacob's ladder.
Oh, okay.
And that stone was considered to be a sacred stone and was then carried with him and taken to Jerusalem, and then from there went to, I think, Ireland and then England, and I think they still use it today.
And they do show pictures, you guys, in the antiquities. You could see pictures of the stone literally under the throne of these coronations of these great kings, and I think, is it just kings? Or kings and queens?
And queens.
And queens.
I think,
Okay.
I'm
not
sure. Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, okay.
And,
okay. Yeah. So I'm glad that you brought that up. See, these are the things that we're talking about. This was just a very inexpensive little plastic toy but yet what it represents is monumental. And he literally got it to, and was the largest one he could find. So
this was actually 3D printed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
it was 3D.
Only one place I was able to find an actual model, and some guy had a
3D printer
3D printer. And
so a lot of the stuff too, if you guys are wondering, where we get this stuff, we can post, links to it because we want to give people credit for the one, who created it. So yeah, if this guy's got a 3D printer and he's printing out these stones and you guys want to buy one, we'll put the link to his website so you guys can buy them. I can put it in the description or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to cost a bunch of money to be able to have fun with this stuff. And even if you don't have the money to buy this stuff, you know what, you could use something from outside. You know what, use a brick, an actual brick, go find a brick someplace and use the brick. It doesn't matter what it is. It's about the intention. It's about the idea. I have used, if you guys have been watching me for a while, and especially if you've had private sessions with me, you've seen I've used some of the goofiest things to help people connect. But when I take that little plastic toy out of my medicine bag and I show it to the person and they go, oh my God, how did you know? What a synchronicity, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's how I know that's why I was guided to do it. And that's why I collect all these silly things that seem silly, because I know it's as if my guides are telling me everything's now. So if I'm picking it up now, that means there's going to be another now in which somebody's going to need to see that thing to help them expand and connect and help them understand more of their own dimensionality, multidimensionality, and to feel a connection even to me or to their soul family, even if it's something simple. So these are the reasons why we are guided to do this stuff. In general, people, to tell our stories. We're all just a story. Again, we're all the stories of Source. Each and every one of us is a mirror or reflection of Source itself, saying, go be me, go create souls upon souls upon souls upon souls upon stories, and come back and sit on my lap and tell me all about it. Tell me all about your adventures. And that's what this is about. Each and every one of us having these amazing soul adventures. and then sharing them with all that is, so that all of us can connect with everything and share and receive and realize more about ourselves by the collective information that is all that is. And even Dave and I were talking today or yesterday about why is it that we, or even me specifically, would say, for example, only if, okay, so let's say we all have access to all that is, all information, like a big buffet, and that metaphor has been used before, probably to death, but the point is you can't eat it all at one time, but yet it's all there. So it's kind of the same thing with all that is and channelers and information, that all that information's out there, even down to the most minute detail, but each of us are going to be resonating with a particular frequency or band of frequency of information, that many of us may receive all the same information from that particular band of information. Maybe some people will get more details than others about specific things, maybe. So, but the point is it relevant to my journey and your journey? And what details are necessary for me to access, for you guys or for me, that maybe there's things that I think I should be accessing that are completely unnecessary for me to access, because it's not part of our journey together, because maybe somebody else is sharing that information and I don't need to. So there's this wanting to share everything, but realizing, one, I can't, just like in a video today, or in a webinar, I can't possibly I never share everything I'm going to share with you guys. I never do. It's like I get it all laid out, and then I get most of it in, but not always all of it. So, but that's the point, is that there's always more. There's always more to learn. There's always more to share. There's always more to connect with. And by all of us doing this together, we bring that out in each other and support each other in that way, and making it fun, yet taking what's very sacred and serious to us and making it fun so we can bring it into our reality now, and yet also not losing sight of the sacredness of it all. So we hope that we have accomplished that, and are accomplishing that, and that we're taking this information but yet making it fun and lighthearted, and yet not minimizing the information, the artifacts, the relics, the channeled information. And to remind all of you that each and every one of us are going to be receiving different bits and pieces of all that is, and we all can't be aware of all of it all at once. Although I have to say, I think that's part of what's happening right now, to be
bringing it all back together.
Bringing it all, that we're going to be, as human beings now, as Davis said this before too, to me even, we're not going to forget anymore. We're no longer going to have to forget all that we are while we're having a physical experience. That's new. That's new, never been done. And if you look at my very first video, they did tell me, you are speaker new, and part of that is to remind everybody that every moment is new, every single moment, just as we're finding out, as science is catching up, we really are creating billions and billions and billions, infinite number of of parallel realities, moment by moment, moment by moment. And we were even talking today about how when you shift your reality, you don't remember that you weren't in the other one. So everything new shifts with it, that's in the new reality. But we're supposed to forget the old one, because how could we as humans possibly remember and keep up with billions of infinite possible realities moment by moment, and all those possibilities? We couldn't really function as humans, yet we're expanding, and I'm seeing this expansion, like we're expanding in that way that we're able to literally do that now, that we're able to experience all of this multidimensionality, and yet bring it now into this human collective in a way that we never have before, and share it with each other in ways that we have never done before. And allowing the human consciousness that we have collectively agreed to, and this is what I want to, they want me to be very specific about this. The collective consciousness that we all agree to. That is what's going on here, it's a collective consciousness that we all agree to. And if we're all agreeing to a specific vibration, then we will only be rendezvousing with versions of those of us that are of that vibration, and we'll forget. And I'm even being corrected about that right now, because that's kind of, it's not that we're going to forget. We're going to be able to understand that we can access all of that all the time, yet consciously. And this is where they've been leading me for all these years, in that to remind all of you that I am constantly receiving information and channeling that information, calling it channeling, calling it whatever you want to call it, receiving and speaking this information that I'm receiving while being completely conscious of the information flowing through you, through us, through me. That is conscious channeling. That is what this is where we're going, where we no longer are going to need to go into a trance state in order to access all of this stuff. We're going to understand we can do it wide awake. We can sit and talk to Saint Germain, give you the information we're receiving right now, wide awake, eyes wide open, and knowing that that information is being received from that energy, that frequency, and that we're bringing it through, and to not doubt that, because why would we doubt it? We can access anything we want in any moment we want. So why would we doubt that? So the idea is, you may not be able to bring everything through all at once, but why would you? Just like we can't process it all at once. So we have to remind ourselves that we are all becoming a conscious channeling collective. We are literally understanding we can, oh my God, I can literally connect to anything I want, anytime, bring it right here, right now, for the purpose of serving me or humanity. And I don't necessarily, I don't need to feel as if it's something separate, it's out there, it's something I can't do, or he can do it, she can do it, I can't do it. Yeah, you can, we all can. And even Dave, I have to remind that he's channeling this information and bringing this information through, no different than I am. And that we are, and he and I both said this, and that we are completely open channels to all of the information and to each other. And so that's another thing that we, as setting an example, is becoming the highest version of yourself that you may then rendezvous with the highest version reflection of yourself. And that reflection is that of which allows you to explore, embrace, empower, amplify all that you already are. It's not that it's not that we're becoming new things, or that we are this or we are that, or I was that person, I was this king. It's that we are literally able to access that information. And even though I questioned the other day, it's like, okay, was I really just talking to King David, or was I just making that up in my head? You know, and even as Dave would say, at the end of the day, does it really matter? Does it matter? Because if the information serves us in that moment, or if it serves you,
and it's fun.
And it's fun.
So I did want to say thanks to Queen Esther.
Yes.
Who this lovely costume was modeled after, I guess.
And inspired, and yes.
And Queen Esther was a Jewish woman who became queen, and there's a whole story, and it's part of the extended Bible, the Book of Esther. So you could also look that up. But we were looking for different costumes to represent queens that were not specifically Egyptian or something else. And I happened to find this, which was a specially designed costume, only available from one company. And I thought, that's perfect. It matches the throne. It matches my idea of what I want to wear. So thank you, Queen Esther, even though we didn't specifically talk about you today.
And that's actually something Dave and I talked about too, that we'd like to actually explore more specifically and honor her. There's more I want to learn about. There's some definite synchronistic connections with me and that idea, the name Esther. So I want to learn more about her. I don't know much about her. So that's something that we're going to be exploring more of and bringing her to light. So if there's any information that you guys want to share about her, and that, so as the days come. And I was thinking about that. We were thinking about that the other day, that we don't always know ahead of time who we're going to talk about or honor. And maybe would it be helpful for you guys to know that if we're going to be talking about a particular god or goddess or idea, that would it be helpful for you guys to know that ahead of time, that maybe we can all hone in on that energy ahead of time, or just leave it as a surprise. That's okay too. So we've talked a little bit about that too, because sometimes we know, sometimes we don't. But anyway, yeah, so she's one that I could say, okay, well, maybe we're going to be honoring Esther. And so maybe we can all talk about it, or you guys can research it right along with us. So just things that we talk about. I was just kind of looking, I want to say hi to everybody. Hi, Liliana, good to see you. Hey, sister. Love to see you guys here in the chat. And I love to see you guys communicating with each other. Daniel says, Stone of Destiny. What does this say? Leah Fail, Tir Nadog, Atlantis, Sword of Nuada, Excalibur, Spear of Lu, Spear of Destiny. So these must all be relics.
Yeah, sounds like.
So that's really interesting. I'd like to learn more about that as too. Yeah, related. Jezebel Curio. So Liliana says, that is the jobs of kings and queens. Care for the people and the planet. The current ones are destroying it. That is the reason we are here, to put back everything into place, I think.
Well, it has to do with your flag message.
Well, yeah, and that's something that I briefly mentioned to Dave today, that one of the messages I kept getting over and over when I was at a retreat with Bree, with many of you know my friend Bree Hauk, and she and I attended a retreat together in Arkansas, and on our way home, I kept hearing over and over again, false flags will be revealed. False flags will be revealed. Some of it had to do with things that have happened before, like with 9/11, but there was a lot more to it than that. And so I mentioned that today again, false flags will be revealed. Now, you did say something about that. That was an interesting choice of words. Why did you say that?
Well, if a flag might represent a country, and countries are run by certain people and individuals,
okay,
and maybe they were founded based on falsehoods.
interesting.
Not specifically any one country, but there are a lot of countries on the planet, and probably a lot of them are being run by people that maybe shouldn't be running them. So false flags will be revealed.
Well, that's very interesting. See, so
part of 2020
and clear vision. So that's very interesting that now that's the kind of information that I would consider. So I shared that with him, and don't even remember why, but and then when he said that to me, I realized that, so he's seeing it from a whole nother perspective that maybe I didn't even see it from, and yet it makes a lot of sense. And so, and that's one of the things when I first met Dave, was share everything, share everything, share everything. And we even did a video about that together. I think it was on a Wednesday, we talked about that, about sharing everything. And that was it was almost like a promise that we made to each other, that he made me make in a way, that share everything. Please share everything. Promise you'll share everything, even if it seems stupid or trivial, or because everything means something. And even if it doesn't mean something today, it might mean something tomorrow. So whenever that tomorrow is, but sharing everything, and we encourage everybody to do the same, because sharing everything triggers, it activates, it creates more of an awareness of all that we are. And that information that you're just receiving too is, I feel, is a channeled message, that there is information that's going to be revealed just by me sharing with you that term, false flags will be revealed. And when you said that to me, well, that's a very interesting term.
Choice of words.
Choice of words, you said, choice of words. And I didn't elaborate on it at the time because I wanted to ask him now. So, but that's very interesting that that's
in the hot seat.
That's right. That's how you saw it was. And so I think that that's very interesting, that is no different of a channeled message than anyone else would get, that something is going to be revealed about those in power in one or more countries, that we're going to be, that these false flags will be revealed, and that, like you said, that maybe the and I even think about our own founding fathers here in America, how even the principles of our own consciousness, collective consciousness in America, I think have strayed away from what our true founding fathers had intended. And so without getting into a lot of that and exopolitics and all that, because you'll find that's the one thing you will find missing from my channel on purpose. Just one of those things that I could channel, but it doesn't excite me. So I just don't even tap into that arena. But there's lots of people who do, and lots of people who are excited about that information and want to know what's going on in these other countries. But there's lots of other channelers that bring that information. So that's one of the things I have to remind myself, is that the things that we share here, our intention is to create a space of the highest possible vibration where people can explore their own multidimensionality, along with sharing light languages and all of that. But the point is to always be remaining in the idea that we're all teachers of the teachers, that you guys are teachers, we're all teachers of the next set of teachers. And that what we're doing right now is like the work that we're all doing right now is like, what they're saying to me is like the crucial period of time when a child has, like, say, I think it's like by the age of 3 or something like that, that their foundation has been set already by the 3 years old, you guys. So we have to remember that even as parents, that foundation is set very, very early. And so I feel like that's what we're doing now, that we are in this infancy stage of this new earth, if you will. And that now is the critical time, the critical teaching time, that time between the ages of 0 and 3 or 0 and 6, if you will, where you're developing everything. You're developing who you are and what you are, and you're watching what's going on around you. You're watching your parents. You're learning from your environment, from tasting and touching and smelling, and that's what we're doing right now. I feel as if we're all in this infancy stage, this child stage, but this, what's happening right now and how we behave, how we act, how we think, is crucial. Is in this crucial development stage for all of us of this new collective consciousness. And even there was a book I read by Eckhart Tolle many years ago called, I think it's called The New Earth. and part of my awakening process at the time. And so whether we want to look at that metaphorically, physically, literally, a new earth, it doesn't really matter in that the energy of it is what really matters, the intention. And so, yeah, there's lots of things that actually, so there's tons of cards I didn't even get to pull today, but I know we're probably getting long on time. So I want to get going here because we've done a lot of coverage today. And of course, there's always still more and more things that I didn't get to cover, but I want to keep them interesting, not too overly long, but I also want to, again, invite all of you guys to bring your information, to bring your relics, to bring, you know, goddess related information, spirit animal stuff, your experiences. If you want to talk about your crystals, if you have information about crystals that you'd like to share with us. I don't know everything. I look it all up. If I don't know something, I look it up and I just share with you what resonates with me that I feel is important, that may benefit all of you. So we love hearing from you. We encourage your participation, your active participation, your bringing your own things to the table. And whether it's light languages, whether it's messages, whether it's your own relics. I wanted to thank Stefan last week. I didn't get to say hey to him for he was wearing his Mickey Mouse wizard hat. So
which also reminds me that the relics that we have, if they're real, the stones, if they're real, the dress up items that you have, which obviously are dress up items, all of these are permission slips, and you could intend them to work just as good as a real magic wand or a real crystal. You could just take a stone out of the backyard and just say, this is my, you know, aquamarine crystal from now on. You could paint it blue.
Yep.
And it's an aquamarine crystal. And as long as you believe it and you want to put the intention and energy into it, then it will work just like an aquamarine crystal. You could take a straw and paint it up like a magic wand, and that's your magic wand.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And that's exactly right. And that's one of the things that Bashar had said a long, long time ago that stuck with me, because so many of us, I remember hearing the saying, if you wait until conditions are perfect to act, you will never act. And I am a perfectionist to the nth degree. And I'm realizing that perfection is allowance. Perfection is allowing synchronicity and spontaneity. And oftentimes, as even Dave will remind me, and I've been reminded by my guides over and over again, if you wait until your perceived circumstances are perfect in order to act, trust me, you guys, you'll just never act, because there'll never be the perfect time for anything. So now is always the perfect time. Now is always the perfect time. Just like, what is it, Winnie the Pooh says, something about today is the best day, or isn't every day the best day, or something like that. So he said, you don't, and he was using an artist as the metaphor. If you are an artist, you do not need fancy paints and fancy pencils and fancy this and fancy paper, and all you need is a burnt stick. So if and I was even thinking about this yesterday about chalk drawings, and I meant to mention this to you yesterday about chalk. Funny how we're all home. A lot of people are home right now. And the weirdest thing is I was getting the message yesterday that to buy some chalk, literal chalk, like sidewalk chalk. And they told me, make symbols on the bricks outside and take pictures of them and share them with people. No idea why. Chalk. And then, because you can hose it off. And they said to me, and I said, well, and you don't even have to take a picture, they said, but just do the drawings. They said, just by you creating the drawing, you have added it to the all that is record, the records of all that is, the library of life. And that even if you hose it away, those have become vibrationally a part of everything. And that, and it was really funny because sidewalk chalk is something that kids love to do. You can hose it off. It can be all different colors. So maybe that's a message to you or all of you guys out there. Get some sidewalk chalk and go make some drawings or go make some symbols and wash them away. It's kind of like sending a prayer and then washing it away, knowing it's done, knowing it's done. And so it's a really weird message about chalk. And I have chalk. Actually, I have chalk. I have little chalkboards and a little chalkboard cup and I think I have a little chalk. I have a little chalkboard flower pot. So they've been telling me this message for a long time about chalk. So for some reason, I'm supposed to share it with all of you. So maybe all of you who are home, or maybe you got some kids at home, get some sidewalk chalk or some white plain chalk, some teacher's chalk, and make something, draw something. I feel like they're telling me it's our version of crop circles. That's what they're saying to me. This is our version of crop circles to create the reality we desire. And if we're all doing this together by fun, but also serious fun, that even by creating these little chalk drawings and then erasing them, you've changed everything. Like literally they said to me, you've changed everything. You made it, everything's changed now because you did that. So I'm supposed to share that with all of you. So burnt stick, he said, Bashar said, just get, a piece of paper or the ground and a burnt stick and draw what you want to draw. So use that as a metaphor for everything. What's your burnt stick? What are you waiting for? What conditions are you waiting for to be perfect to act? Now's the time to act, guys. This is the perfect time. Now is the perfect time. What is your burnt stick? What are you waiting for to be perfect in order for you to do something or create something or make something or write something or do something different? Maybe, you know what? I've been told a lot, you guys, there's a lot of people that are not working right now. And there's a lot of people who are reevaluating and reassessing. Is that really the job I want to go back to? Is that really what's creating my highest joy and excitement? Or when this is all said and done, I'm going to go do something different. I'm going to go be a barista, or I'm going to go, you know what? Explore. Use this opportunity to go inward and explore what it is that you're actually supposed to be doing. Because many of us are being asked right now with this stillness time to reevaluate. Are you really, really, really excited about going back to that job or that thing that you were doing before? Are you really? And if you're not, if the answer is even a hesitation, there's your answer. So maybe this is your time to start looking for something different, doing something different. You know how many people have told me, I used to do this and now I want to go be a healer. Now I don't even know what that means, but I want to go be a healer. Well, then go be a healer. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that mean? You're going to be guided as you're tapping into that amethyst, aquamarine. I said amethyst. You're tapping into the aquamarine and going into meditation. You're going to be shown what excites you. Take that thread. Even if you think it's not going to support you, it doesn't matter. So the last card of today, trust. The unicorn deck. Oracle of the unicorns. Whoops, I dropped it. The beautiful Aurora Borealis. Green and blue. Trust. Leap into the unknown. Well, there you go, guys. Have faith and move forward. Believe you will fly. So that is our unicorn collective message for today. And I just love, love, love these cards. I'm going to show you guys again in the back. So thank you all for being with us today and for joining us, for being you, for connecting to me, for connecting to us, for connecting to these crystals, for using these as permission to become more and more of your multidimensionality, to explore more in all that you are, to trust. Trust, trust, trust. Trust in the information. Look at, I just love this. Look at how beautiful and soft. It doesn't take hard energy to trust. It actually takes soft energy to trust yourself. Yet we create turmoil in the idea of trusting ourselves. So trust in your burnt stick. Trust that you know what is next for you. And even if it's unidentifiable, know that this year of 2020 is the year of higher vision, clearer vision, seeing who you are, what you need, how you can be in highest service to yourself by following your highest joy and excitement as far as you can take it, moment by moment, without expectation. Without expectation. I did that event here in Florida without any expectation of anything, as far as anything, really. It was just my highest excitement to do so. I was guided to, and even though there were parts of me that were telling me that it wasn't maybe going to be perfect, it turned out to be absolutely perfect, because I wouldn't have met Dave in person, at least maybe not then. So this is your now time. This is your perfect time. So go be perfect. I want to thank all of you for joining us and for being here in the room, for being out there, for interacting with each other. This is your wolf pack. This is your sacred space, our sacred space. Thank you for talking to each other and engaging with each other and supporting each other. Please hook up with each other, find each other outside of the live chat. You know, there's lots of, you know, find each other on social media, talk to each other, email each other, talk to each other, video chat with each other, meet each other. And if you guys are here in Florida, and I want to say, Lisa said that she's, I think she said she's coming back to this area. This is where she's from, I think. Looks like, I was looking to see her note. She said she was coming back to this area. So yeah, if you guys are here and you're I didn't go far enough. Yeah. So if you're, in the, I think she said in the Palm Beach area. So yeah, please visit us if you want to. Palm Beach County. So if you want to come visit us, our mailing address is on my website. If you want to send us something, let us know. If we want to get together, come and do a hangout with us. Come and sit with us and do a hangout with us on Friday, you know, or we can just make a video anytime or do a live hangout anytime. So we encourage it. We invite you, explore you, come and visit us. Thank you for being with us. I'm looking at all these new names and places. So yes, I'm really excited, Lisa, seriously excited to meet you. Please let me know when you're in town. We really want to meet you and hang out with us. Come sit in the throne. All of you, come take your turn in the throne. So without further ado, Nyasavashane tela aniata ilako samaso telehara. Imosotore siteya alahana madoto. Miama kiara sote ilana tiabaso. Mi talasan sona maliana. Ela hilako namasha to bealante somosopa leata ki. Shimanomala kufasha. Simasomayana tiaraki, Simasemayana titia, Mishomoloa Kaliana Kua. May you move through your world vibrantly, colorfully, miasoe enthusiastically, miatavakola kasanase, amorko shene passionately, kiabosomali ataraki, amiasha noto yamale alakosanase. Know that you will know what you need. Say trust. Trust in your excitement, trust in your fun, trust in your joy, and it will lead you. It will lead you to the joy in your journey, and to remember that the word journey begins and ends with the word joy. You are meant to be joyous. You are meant to be fun and loving and happy. Asopa shanotaya isha somosopela halakumayataya isha natoya. Your work should always feel like your fun. Your play should always feel like your work. Biasomashotariasa se oa anitaya. No matter what is it that you're doing, miyashote. Bring your heart, bring your love, bring your passion. Viastoe, and be that best being that you're being. Even right now, without expectation, being in your highest joy and excitement right now will always lead you, just like the unicorn's horn will always lead you to that which is your highest divine, God, Goddess, Queen, King within you, always. Sevashonatale lasso miatorake miashanetia sosoa la yeshanotoya, ibashonoteya, isarase somatea. And thank you, Dave, for always reminding me about my own sovereignty, that I am my own queen. Thank you. So for always seeing my true colors and encouraging me to be and show and explore all that I am, even when I don't know who that is, and loving every moment of it, even when it's even when I'm confused. Thank you. I love you.
I love you.
Yeah.
And you're all kings and queens too, and gods and goddesses.
So we love you very much. Thank you for being with us and sharing our journey of joy. And this is my highest joy in service. And I invite all of you to be in your highest joy in service. I love you. We love you. Thank you so much for being with us. Miatoya. Alakasana satya shona naikiato. Alasoma shetia. Anasoyi shanasala. Aliki sanase taliata kisha. I love you. Miato. Miasha. Bye, everybody. See you next Friday.